before starting my session, I would wish all of you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to come. With that positive note, I'm going to start my presentation on optimism. So just let me know if you can see my screen. Can you?
It is loading. Yes, I can able to see.
So before to begin with the session on grounded optimism and optimistic skills for children, I would like to start the session with a small quiz that we all would love to do. So if you are happy to do it, kindly take your paper and pen, and I would just explain how you would go with it, and then you will see what's going to happen at the end of the quiz. I hope we are ready to do, and we are going to do it together. So as a team, we always confess that all the information and the sources that we have used in this presentation is duly recognized as references. So here is the quiz that starts with the question: check how optimistic are we or our kids? So there are 8 questions in this quiz, and you can see you have the scores next to the question. Each question has a different score. Kindly note it, because some of the questions take 0 for an S, 2 marks for no, and some questions have 2 for an S and 0 for a no. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me anytime. So the first question I'm going to ask you, and you're going to put if it's an S or no to you with a number. It's a 0 or 2. Am I clear? Can I have a thumbs up because I don't see you? Yeah? Okay, good. So the first question is, this quiz is usually used for kids to assess how they are behaving at schools or at home. But this can also be used by adults. You can relate these questions to your working environment, either it be in office or work from home, whatever you are. The first question is, take blame personally when things go wrong. That means in any situation, if things are going wrong, would you take the blame on yourself? So if you make it 0, if your answer is no, make it 2. Okay. So the second question is, blow negative events out of proportion. So that means if something happens, you blow out the negative thing in that incident and make it bigger. Whatever happens, you blow just the negative thing out of it. If you can put 0. If you are not of that kind, you can put 2. The score is 2. So the third question is, take personal credit if things go well, as doing well in a test at school or winning a game or doing really well at your work. So if you are such a person, have 2 as your score, or you can have it 0. The fourth question is, believe that with hard work or better skills, he or she here refers to the kid, but if it's you, you can also judge yourself for this question. So if you really believe that you're doing really good with your skills, have 2 as your score or 0. So the fifth question is, usually looks on the bright side of any situation. That means whatever happens, you always brighter side and ignore the gray ones. Meaning you're being more positive to see things. So if it's an S, it's 2. If it's no, it's a 0. The sixth question is, catastrophize things that go wrong at school or think bad events. So for kids at school, for you at work. Any situation you can judge. So it's a 0 if the answer is yes, and it's 2 if the answer is no. The seventh question is, immediately jumps to the worst possible outcome if you are not sure of something, or if the kid is not sure of something. So S takes 0 and answer no takes 2. So the eighth question, the last question is, takes plenty of learning risks or any risk related to your work and is not held back by the possibility of failure. It means even if you take a lot of risk, and if it's going to be a failure one, you keep moving forward. So if you are that kind of person, your score is 2, and if you are not, your score is 0. So I'm gonna see in the chat if you all have done this quiz. Any doubts? 6th, okay. Catastrophize things that go wrong means, see, you're looking to the, I mean, it's not really bad, but you're thinking it is more worse than actually it is. That is called catastrophize. Kirtana is asking for clarity on question number 6. It means there is a bad thing that has happened in a situation, but you're zooming it bigger. You're making it considerably worse than actually it is. That is called catastrophize. Kirtana? Thank you. So are we done with the scoring? Okay. So we have some response. Good. Vishal Mukund has said she has scored 14. If you're open to share your scores, otherwise, I'm going to give you the score chart and you're going to see what you are as an optimist. So this quiz is originally by Michael Gross. He's an Australian parenting writer and speaker. He's also an educational writer. I found this impressive to try with my own kids. So I thought I should share this with you all so that it might be useful for yourself or for your kids or for anyone that you want to study with. So is it okay? So now we know what level of optimist we are. And I think it's the moment for us to introspect and realize and to see how best we can be more optimistic. So I'm here to share my insights, perspectives, thoughts, or learnings of whatever I had on optimism. So after the presentation, you're very much welcome to contribute your own thoughts on optimism, or feel free to discuss anything about it. So shall we begin? Yeah, good. We all know that optimism and positivity, they are not really distinctly different. So optimism has many qualities, but positivity is the brighter thing that you can see in an optimistic person. They always have the greater feeling of hope and confidence, and they feel very successful in whatever they do. And whatever happens in any given situation, they always expect the best. So having this quality is called optimism. And who are optimists? As I told you earlier, optimists always look to the positive side. They look to the brighter sides. In any given situation, they usually look for more opportunities rather than looking at the problems or failures. And it doesn't mean that an optimistic person is 100% successful in all given situation, or they are completely positive throughout their life. They really know where to bounce back, when to bounce back, and how to bounce back. It is the spirit, it is the total belief system of a person. It is about how the things happen and how they handle the given situation. It is all about optimism. And the acceptance is one of the biggest spirit the optimistic people possess, because anything that is a success or failure, they're happy to accept it, and they don't stay back, they don't stagnate, they keep moving forward. So optimism is about a positive feeling or a hope or a confidence a person can possess and move forward after accepting whatever happens or whatever is being present in any situation. So here are some of the characteristics that you can read. It is taken from the best-selling book, The Power of Optimism, by the author Alan Lloyd McGuinness. Here he presents 12 important characteristics of tough-minded optimists who really see their life through the power of positivity. So whatever we read here, it all says about the optimistic people know how to strengthen or heighten their powers with positive power. They know how to handle problems. They don't want a definite solution. Even if it's a partial solution, they're happy with finding a solution to it. So it is all about optimistic people and their characteristics. Charles S. Carver, psychologist at the University of Miami, Florida, in the United States, And he has presented 9 important traits of optimists. And that's really interesting. So I thought we would share this with you. The first one is resilience. And we know resilience is one important quality anybody should possess, because life is full of challenges and life is a mix of positive and negative things. So it is really important to bounce back to the original form and then move forward. And that's what Carver says, that there are people who really wanted the ship to correct itself when it is struck. But optimistic people will think how they can correct themselves in a sunk situation. This is what resilience speaks about in an optimistic person. They are not quitters. Optimistic people don't give up that easily. They are having a positive attitude towards difficult situation, and they will wait for it, and they will make the situation better. So even if nothing works, they know a way to find an option to make it work. So this is about the giving, like non-quitters. They don't give up. Physical activity, that means optimistic people are really proactive, and they tend to have a lot of physical activity. They are a kind of exercising people. They wanted to keep themselves energized, more active, and because of exercises, their brain hormones and all work really well, and that gives happiness to them, and happiness results in positivity. Positivity in turn results in productivity. So physical activity, in one word, boosts up many things in a human body and mind. And so optimistic people tend to have more physical activity voluntarily. Forgiveness. I think forgiveness is not just the quality of an optimistic person, it's a quality of any person, a human, human life should possess, because they don't find really fault, or they don't blame any people for anything that has happened, even if it is their own fault or somebody's fault. Forgiveness comes in the first place, and they always tend to forgive people that easily, instead of focusing on what problem the other person has caused. Draining energy in negative things definitely makes you feel stressed and depressed. So forgiveness is one important quality, which is equally as nice as being grateful. And I think forgiveness is one quality an optimistic person will definitely possess. Obsessive. Obsession is it depends on what you're obsessed of. So the optimistic people are less obsessive towards the negative thought patterns. They always have a positive expectation, which can really result in a better emotional well-being of human beings. Less stressed. Obviously, having more physical activity and doing a lot of exercise, being forgiving and being very grateful, all this will improve your happiness hormones in the body, and the stressor hormones becomes really less. Cortisol levels are really lowered when you are very optimistic. And there was also research that Carver states that if the same stressor is given to a people who are more pessimistic and optimistic, the hormones were really aversive. Aversive means they were working on the other side for the positive person. So it means to say, for an optimistic person, the action of the cortisol stress hormone was really, really less when compared to that of a pessimistic person. Okay, sleep is one important thing. We all know it's very important for human lives, and which many of us are lacking these days because of gadgets or because of many other commitments related to social media. So I think an optimistic person will really know what to worry for and what not to worry for, what to take it easy and what to take it, really tough and fight with it. So they have a balanced life and give adequate time for sleep. And you all know that all of our hormones are becoming very active and functional during sleep. And also in my previous presentations, I keep insisting to friends and family that 7-hour compulsory sleep is a must for all your hormones to act enormously well, and that will affect your health in a positive way. So optimistic people do really care for themselves. Self-care becomes their priority. They do sleep well. I think all of us here are optimistic, but we know how optimistic we are. And I think we have to care for these traits, and we can work on it, and we can improve really, being a positive person in our lives. Attitude. We have spoken enough about gratitude, but still you see gratitude becomes the quality of every individual and also an optimistic person, because it is totally it is playing an playing an important role in everything, either it be in children or in adults. We have to learn to appreciate every little thing that comes to us. We should feel very blessed to have this Christmas really, in this way, because when we think about the other people around the world, there are many families who had Christmas in a disastrous way. Somebody have lost their close family or friend, and some people have really lost their jobs, and some people do not have their basic needs or necessities to be fulfilled. In this way, today we are feeling really blessed and we are feeling really grateful for having this life today. So I think every little helps and every little thing should be appreciated. And this is increased altruism. We all know that being altruistic is like you are very selfless about yourself. Selfless is you're not selfish, and you have more concern. Your concern on others also is really selfless. You don't expect anything from others. And altruism is one of the important quality of an optimistic person. So in a study conducted in 2005 by Dr. Dennis, who was the dean of a medical school, he studied with 750 Vietnam vets. So what he found is like that they possessed importantly the optimistic and altruistic quality in them. So what he tries to say is like the altruistic people contribute as much they can for betterment of their own or for someone else, and they don't count what it is going to happen if we are not going to do it or if we do it. They don't expect the result of their input. So I think increased altruism is one of the important quality of an optimistic person. So whatever we have seen so far or the important traits Carver has proposed, and I think it makes sense. And when we look to it and when we introspect, we can know where we are. The qualities that we're going to talk about, highly optimistic people, and we believe that they are the secrets to the success in life. So we can say optimists are, firstly, we are self-motivated, meaning motivation is very important for anybody who are really down, depressed, stressed, or lagging behind. But optimist people don't wait for others to motivate. They motivate themselves. They have the energy to motivate themselves. They have their minds to motivate themselves. It is like a self-start, self-motivated they are. Surrounded with positive people, there is a proverb that says that, show your friend, I will tell who you are. So that also holds for optimism, because the research says that you are 1 in 5 people that you're mixing with. It means to say, if you are really nice, that means you are in good crowd. If you are having some problem in you and people identify you to be a not very good person, then you have to check your crowd. I think choosing the crowd to mix with is our own choice, and it is always good to be surrounded with positive people and push the negative vibes aside. Optimistic people are happy and joyful. They don't feel a happy occasion. Even a smile on their face can boost their energy and they can feel more optimistic and more positive. They can keep themselves happy, and also their smiles will cheer the other people around. And that is the vibes, because when you meet some people, you will feel that, oh, talking to this person is really nice or it's really positive, because that's that happiness and joy that they have are really contagious, and they don't have to see your face. They can just spread through words or over phone. It can happen. So they're really happy and joyful. Optimistic people are against naysayers. Naysayers is like people who say no. We have studied in an article that you all know the Hollywood actor Arnold Schwarzenegger. When he was trying to become a bodybuilder, people said that you're not fit to become that way because you're not, you're not looking that heavy or hefty or whatever. But first time, he did not accept what people said, and he broke their words and he proved them wrong, and he became a bodybuilder. Then he desired to become an actor in the movies, but people said you're very heavy and you're very, like big, and it is not really possible for you to become an actor. And we all know that he proved the world by becoming one of the highest paid actors. He's such a good example for an optimistic attitude he had, and he really succeeded in what he wanted to become. They are goal setters and they will achieve it. I hope we are also following the same thing in our own lives. They are very grateful. They're honest with themselves. We all know that honesty is the best policy. We can be honest to others, but being honest to ourselves means that we are honest. Okay, we easily can cheat people outside, but we can't cheat ourselves. So being honest to ourselves is really a good one. And they are very strong in their opinions. When they decide, it is decided. They don't wait for other people to give consent or opinions, whether it is right or not, whether it is okay or not. They stay strong in their opinions. They are very curious. They just don't want to be idle in their work. They wanted to try one or the other. They wanted to know one or the other. They wanted to keep always their brain very active, and that way they feel more positive. And they are the generators of new ideas, meaning if a project is being given to an optimistic person, it's one way is blocked. They don't see that, okay, this is blocked. They might try the second one. Okay, just not fed up with that. They keep trying different things to get that particular thing done. They're very passionate. They're very lovable to whatever they do, and they put their fullest in it. And you can feel the love in a work done by an optimistic person. They're helping minded. I already told you that altruism is one of the important quality of an optimistic person. They just be selfless to help other people. They are not worried about the outcome or whatever, they would have it back. And they are very positive. We knew that optimistic persons are really positive, and they're very open to accept failures. That means if a failing situation comes, they always hope for the next better situation. They don't stagnate there to think about what has helped them in achieving that failure part of it. So they take things in balance. So far we have seen about what is optimism, what are the characteristics of optimist, and what are the important an optimist would possess, and what are the qualities of an optimistic person. So here comes the true topic, grounded optimism. We all know that being positive in anything and everything is optimism. Grounded optimism is in itself says that optimism grounded in a better way. I would like to tell you an example here. You think about a person who might be your friend or family or anyone close to you, who is in constant touch with you for over years, and you have been in their lives in all ups and downs, and you know that person by every ways and means. Okay, so when the person is having a problem, you are one of the closest confidential person. The person trusts you better, and they keep sharing you things. Okay, and you always be open to give your opinions or whatever it is to that person. And most of the times you have been very positive in consoling or comforting that person, saying that you will be okay in this situation. Okay, so grounded optimism means it is not just saying you will be okay, this problem will go away soon, don't worry, we are there for you. So this is not just enough. Grounded optimism is really making the person feel, relating to their past experience and the ways they have used to come out of a problem that has happened in the past. Hope I'm making it clear. A particular person has a problem at the present. Okay, they have also had a bigger problem in the past. So when you are talking about the current problem, you just don't say that this will be all right, this problem will be okay, or whatever. Instead, you will relate an experience of that person that happened in the past that you know, and you would say, dear friend or dear whoever, do not worry. You are really bold. You're really courageous. You're really strong. Think about what happened 6 months before. There was a very big problem, and you are really a sport, and you solved it in a better way. Be strong, the same, and I'm sure you're going to cross this problem also very soon. Think about what you can do your best in, because it is not always nice to hear from people saying to you, it's okay, you will be all right, it's okay, you will be all right. At one point of time, when you hear a lot of okay, what I tend to feel is, it is our problem. How can the person say like we will be okay? They're not really realizing the pain, and they're not trying to, help. And that is what the human mind thinks about after a while. So optimism grounded in a better way is like we can help the person relate their experience in the past, and then help them find a way to solve their problem. And then you can say, you will be all right. This too shall pass. So this is something interesting that I have learned from a course that I had on positive psychology on happiness. So I thought it would be nice also to share to people about what it really is. So from the next time onwards, when somebody says something to us, we are going to be there for them in everything. And we are going to say to them how hard they have traveled this far in a better way. And we are going to say what the courage and what the quality they have to overcome a problem. And then we will say it will be all right. So this is grounded optimism. So I have put a traffic signal there because traffic signal in psychology is a very important symbol. It is usually used in anger management. So whenever you are angry, you have to think about the red light that says you stop, and or that says you be ready or relax, and the green says you go. That holds good also for the optimism. You can teach your kids this way. Whenever they are feeling really bad, they have to say stop to themselves. Don't feel bad, okay? And they have to say relax. Take a deep breath. By the time you do a couple of deep breaths, you will feel more relaxed and come to the present moment. And then you will say start again. You can show them a nice picture, or you can say them some nice words to realize, and so that they will surely be out of that situation. So there is a proverb also saying that stitch in time saves nine. I think any important quality has to be inculcated or nurtured in childhood. That will help that person to become a better person in the future. So I've also shared some important quotes that I like so much about optimism. So being optimism is our own choice, and I think we will want to be. I think nobody wants to become a pessimist. Even if we are slightly, sometimes we can strive hard to possess these traits, and we can feel always better. Okay, so we have to believe that there is no problem on earth without a solution. It is important to think all the best ways to find solution. If we can't do it by ourselves, we can ask for help with people who are really, really positive. Don't discourage you. So choose the right person to be with, either it be a friend or family. I keep saying this. And you can see a glass. We also know that looking at half filled glass in a different perspective, but this is quite different because this glass is not half, it is full to me. From the picture, it shows that it's like half filled with air and half filled with water. So it is another way of looking to a thing. And this is how the optimistic people look at things differently. The slides that we're going to discuss about, as I told you, Michael Gross, an Australian parenting and educational writer. He was the author of the quiz that we had in the beginning of this session. He is also the author of these important skills. He has proposed 10 important skills a kid has to possess, and that helps them to achieve whatever they want to. So the first thing he says is about understand self-talk. So talk is a quality of many of us. I don't know whether the kids do actually. There are kids who do it also. So if there are kids who don't practice self-talk, I think we have to encourage them or teach them how to do it. And we can use mirror technique for it. The mirror technique is, most of us know also this, that you have to stand in front of the mirror, talk really nice words about the kids so that they hear and they react on the mirror, and also ask them to do positive affirmations about themselves. So this is how we teach kids to do self-talk. And if some kids are already doing it, kindly watch what kind of self-talk they do. Some children, they definitely have their own way of doing it, and some do in a negative way, because not every kids have a good circle of friends or a good number of friends. So they might feel negative about what's happening to them. So there are two things in self-talk. One, we have to encourage kids to do self-talk using mirror technique. If the child is doing a negative self-talk, you have to motivate them to do a positive one. This is the first skill for children. Second one is slow down and think through the options. There are many things that children will face in the school or wherever in the play area or something like that. So whatever happens to them, they come to a quick conclusion. that means that people are treating them badly, or they are really bad, or whatever it is. So we have to teach them, realize what's happening to them, and then come to a conclusion, not to jump into quick conclusion. So whatever happens to them, we have to explain them that is not the only thing that's going to happen to them, or that's the only thing that they will face in their life. There are many other things, nicer things in front of them. So whatever happens to them, they have to put a break there and think, and then come to a conclusion. So the third scale is reframe positively. So whatever happens to them, they usually go for a wrong judgment. Usually, there are smart kids. I'm not talking about them. The most kids, for their age and for their experience, usually they will come to a bad conclusion. So in that, we have to make them understand what a positive thing can we see in that negative situation. Not everything is black. We can also see some white areas there. So we have to train them slowly using small activities at home, and then we can make them understand that they have to practice seeing a positive thing in every negative situation. So look for the lesson. So in anything that has happened to them, they shouldn't take all the blame on themselves. That, personal blame. It is because of me. It is because of me. That kind of thing they shouldn't see. So whatever happened has happened. It is not just them. Okay, there are many things in the situation. So we have to clearly explain to them, and we have to them to learn from their mistakes. Mistakes do happen, but motivate them, encourage them to learn a lesson from it, and kindly guide them not to repeat it in the future. That would really make them feel more better. They don't take the guilt, of being wrong. So fair blame. Fair blame is it is just us, the other people, or the situation itself, the events. We have to think about all the three and then take a fair blame on us. We don't have to take a full blame on ourselves, and we have to tell children or teach them to look at the facts of what has happened in the situation, why it happened, because of whom it happened, and how it happened. Instead, just seeing a very bad reaction on another kid's face, we don't have to take the guilt of being wrong. That's what I'm trying to say. We have to teach the kids to understand, analyze the given situation slowly to their level. They are definitely going to understand if we tell them in a very nicer way, and they are not supposed to be struck just with emotions and take over blame on themselves and feel very bad about what they are doing. So next is perspective taking. That means we have to encourage kids and teach them how to think rationally and realistically. That means they have to go behind logics and reasons. They don't have to come to quick decisions or conclusions that this is because of this. They always have to think about the logic, and they have to think about reasoning. There will be qualities in every kid. Every kid is special and every kid is different. We always have to train them to think rationally, so that even when they grow up, they will be tuned in a way not to judge things or people in a quicker way. Instead, they will think why it has happened, how it has happened, all that stuffs. They can be better thinkers. And use of language levels. It is very important to watch what kind of language our kids are using. I'm not talking about using a German, French, or Spanish. It is about the level of their language. Meaning, these days kids are really smart to learn lots of things from internet or whatever things. It is good, it is appreciable, but here what we have to watch and teach them is, instead of saying I don't like it, the starts to say I hate it. It's another level. And instead of saying I'm disappointed, they say it is devastating. Instead of saying I'm angry, they say I'm annoyed. So that's not the right words they have to use for their age, because use of language is directly related to your thinking process. So high level of extraordinary words and at extraordinary levels will definitely affect the thought process of a kid. And at one point, they feel extremely difficult to come out of it. So let them be good at speaking any language, doesn't matter, but we have to teach them the better ways and the optimistic way of using words in their day-to-day life. Setting realistic goals. Every kid is ambitious. one or the other. They keep changing it every year, you know. First they will say, I want to become a doctor, and next they wanted to become a teacher, and the next day they want to become an engineer. Doesn't matter. They are dreaming a lot. And Abdul Kalam sir said, we have to dream a lot. That's good. But what we have to tell them is, we have to teach them how to solve the puzzles first. Meaning, if there is a small situation, they should know how to solve and come out of it. And then they will know different ways to achieve their goal ultimately. And the ninth one is the disaster meter. We all, as adults, know how to score our, feelings or emotions or whatever. But for kids, we can teach them to score from 1 to 10. There are two things that we can show them using the disaster meter. The first thing is, you tell them not every loss is the same. Not every difficult situation gives the same effect. For example, if a child has lost a pencil or an eraser at school, you ask them, what would they score? That might be their favorite one, okay? What would be your score from 1 to 10 for this loss? They will say 8 or 6, because that is their favorite pencil gifted by someone really dear. And you ask a dear person from the family, we missed them due to ill health or whatever. And the person attached to that kid will be really, they will score 10 or 10 plus, you know. In that way, we make them really understand not every loss is the same, not to take everything deep into the heart and feel bad. In that way, they try to level up the different things that happen in their lives and feel really better mentally, physically, emotionally, and whatever, in the total well-being. And the last one is counting every day's blessings. As we said earlier, to be more optimistic, you know, like you feel more grateful. And we teach the kids to be, to be really humble in receiving things, and also to feel more grateful, even if it's a small thing. If it's a kiss from a friend, if it's from a book from a teacher, or if it is like a food for every day, whatever, you know, we have to just introduce the feeling of gratitude and gratefulness in them. I'm sure if all these, there are many, many skills that we have to nurture in kids, but these are the 10 important skills that we can start with. And if this is going to work, they are going to make magic or wonders in them. So, about grounded optimism and skills that child should possess. Thank you much for your patient listening, and you're most welcome if you have any doubts to ask. And here are the references that we have quoted from where the materials have been chosen to discuss with you today. So all is left to you now. Any points for discussion or any contribution, you're most welcome. Thank you very much. If anybody would like to contribute your thoughts, or if you want to share your experience of how you have been a more optimistic person, or like you have any special ways and tricks that you can teach us today so that we can use in our own lives, you're most welcome. Please do participate. Thank you. Okay. Just a minute, Manikavalli ma'am, I will do it. Or okay.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yeah, very clear, ma'am.
Ma'am, extraordinary presentation, ma'am, and a very clarity one also. Ma'am, one request from me: how to handle the persons who take advantage of our love, ma'am?
I think love is unconditional, ma'am. So we don't talk about advantages or disadvantages here. I really understand. Most of us are really, I would say it might look a bigger word, but some kind of betrayal happens to people who really, really send lots of love to people. And having said this, I would say that love is really unconditional. That means we don't expect them to, treat it fairly. So if you really feel like giving to them, just keep giving, ma'am. I would not have a way to say to judge people when you share love.
But the administration and the parents selves expects the most from us only. How to handle the parents and administration in this post? We want to
Pardon, ma'am,
give the
I didn't get you. Can you repeat, please?
ma'am, I want to give love to my children only. I want to give love only to my children. But but the administrations and parents pressurize me to produce the result. How to handle both of them?
Okay, you're talking about in a school setup that you
Yes,
to
ma'am.
love, but they're asking for performance.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Uh, I think, ma'am, it is a trick by a teacher to make kids perform through love, ma'am. So, everybody has their own demands, and love is a part of any achievement, I would say. Instead of being strict to kids, you're sharing love. That's one good thing to be appreciated, and I would love to. But the performance is a requirement of another setup. So, I think as a professional, should be able to produce what the management is also asking us, ma'am. So love can be a strategy, but it cannot be the only way to achieve performances, ma'am. I think we have to work on different strategies to make children perform through love, ma'am. That's what I would say in my experience. If anybody can contribute any idea to her question, you're most welcome. You can do it.
Ma'am, and also one thing, ma'am, the students are very optimist always. The children are always very optimist, but the handling of the students makes them too pessimistic because the parents and teachers make and the society makes the students to become pessimistic. In my view, all the children are optimistic because the society pressure, parental pressure, and teachers pressure makes the children to feel them guilty. What do you want to suggest them, ma'am? How to handle the children in the positive way?
Um, uh, it's a good question, ma'am. What I would say is like, see, being a mother of two kids, what I feel is like a kid is not just present at home or at school, ma'am. They are present in different environments. Okay, so I think they are influenced by different things, and definitely we have to be more aware. And the teachers and the parents have got a greater role because they have got more time to spend with kids. As a teacher, if you can bring more awareness in spreading optimistic thing with the parents, they can train their kids at home, and you insist them at school, will make them become a better person, ma'am. Because what we say is like we have to teach kids to be more optimistic when they are children, so that they will become a better person in the future. We can't try to make them 100% optimistic at the age of 5 or 6, ma'am. They have to go through all rough and tough situations. But we have to, as parents, as teachers, we have to keep insisting them that that's what I told you, ma'am, that we have to train them to see the best thing in the worst thing. That only the teachers and parents can do. And we have to, as teachers, you have to try to bring more awareness to parents, because you are the only trump card to reach more parents. So I think the teachers can make greater efforts to educate parents to train their children to be more optimistic. So in the longer run, I'm sure, because optimism also has a quality of acceptance, ma'am. It is not always being positive. So we should also train kids to accept what comes in front of them and to see the best to come out of it. This is what I would suggest, ma'am. I'm training my kids that we have just started. They are really small, but this is how. Uh, Wherever they go, it is not just going to be the positive thing they are going to see. There will be plus, there will be minus. We have to teach the kids failure is also a part of their achievement. They have to accept whatever it comes, and they have to try their best to give in whatever they do. These three things that we have to educate kids, ma'am. So on the long run, we can expect a better person for our society. This is what I would say, ma'am.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. God bless you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. There is one question here. What question? So any opinions, any feedback, anything you are happy to share, we are welcome. Sir, I think we are done with the discussion today.
Yes, I think no more questions. Can you able to hear me? Familiar with it as to how the. Can you able to hear me? Can you able to hear me, Chandra?
Sir, I can hear you, sir, but I can also hear some other voice.
Okay, there is one more. Okay. I'll do one thing. There is no more questions here. I think we can conclude the session. I think it is a wonderful presentation. I can get it from that feedback here. Now I request, is there? Okay, I think Dr. Subhasri is not here, so I will propose vote of thanks. And thank you, Chandra, for amazing presentation, for including the parent perspective to create or to develop the optimistic skill among the children. There is a portion that is a quality one, and you given that importance regarding that qualities and important traits from the research perspective. Thank you for making that participant to understand and the importance of optimism. Thank you so much. And we will have another session from you very shortly. With that note, I can conclude today's session. Thank you all for your wonderful support. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you everyone who have been a part of today's webinar. Thank you so much. I'm greatly pleased by all your presence, and thank you all for your nice words too. Have a nice Christmas for the rest of the day, and Happy New Year.